Welcome back. We continue with more news now. As parts of Johannesburg battle without water, officials from Joburg Water are set to brief the media this afternoon. Taps are running dry in many parts of the city. There's also not been clarity on the turnaround time. For more, let's cross live to Newtown, where that briefing is taking place.
At around midnight, the second feeder board was also repaired. Then pumping was at 100% capacity. While supply is now restored, system will take time to recover. Johannesburg Water teams are working, monitoring also the network very much closely. Alternative water supply has been provided to the affected communities. It is also important to highlight there was an incident that also occurred on Sunday, the 3rd of March at Water Aikenhof Pump Station due to a power failure on City Power's transformer, which was struck by lightning. The pump station was sitting at 54% capacity from last Friday. Both incidents, the Aikenhof Pump Station further exacerbated its capacity to critically low level. Systems affected were Soweto, Randburg, Rudeport, Johannesburg South, and Central. Johannesburg Water, City Power, and Rand Water technical teams continued working together to resolve challenges brought by this incident. As the system recovers, there has been some improvements noted in some areas such as Hest Hill, Crosby, Power Park, Doornkop West, and some parts of Rudeport. We estimate overall better improvement overnight and will keep residents informed of developments and changes that will then happen. I think the system is now doing good. We are also looking that overnight, our technical teams will work overnight to make sure that we recover our reservoirs and towers. As you know, at night, the water usage is very low, and we'll then be able to close some outlets so that we will recover very quickly. So we're looking part of Soweto currently as we speak, they are beginning to get water. It's beginning to be stable in part of Soweto. So there are areas that might experience late recovery because of their high-lying areas. But obviously, the alternative water supply will be in place to assist such community. But again, let us also take this opportunity because I'm not sure whether because of it's an election year or so, others who are issuing statements that are not founded, no facts at all, misleading community out there. It is better for them to consult first. We are here open to everybody. Come, get facts either from ourselves or our technical team at Joburg Water. Then before you go out at media to give statements that are not founded. This is not a matter for politicking. It's an incident that happened unplanned, very unfortunate, but we're working very much hard to resuscitate the system. Thanks, colleagues. I think amongst us here we have the city manager, as they was introduced, Mkwebo is here, everybody's here. So to give details that are more technical, I think will be then open for questions.
Thank you so much, MMC. So at the end of the briefing, we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions. So I'll hand over to the city manager, Mr. Floyd Brink.
Okay, no, thank you. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all. Thank you, MMC. I think it's important for us really to note and to accept that that the city is experiencing a great deal of disruption due to aged infrastructure, as well as the efforts for us to improve even our response time. And this is something that I've been mentioning over the past few weeks as well. So as indicated by the MMC, 2 city power outages affected the Rand Water Aikenhof pump station. So the first incident occurred on Sunday, the 3rd of March, where a city power transformer was struck by lightning. This affected the stability of certain reservoirs within the Johannesburg water system. So consequently, this load reduction and setback impacted our key reservoirs and towers supplied from the Suikerbosch water treatment plant. Now on Monday, the 4th of March 2024, was another incident on City Power system that feeds onto the Rand Water's Eikenhof pump station. Now this incident happened at around 8 o'clock that evening. So ever since then, our teams worked around the clock to ensure that they restore services to the communities. Now consequently, operations at the pump station were severely disrupted, leading to no supply from Eikenhof pump station to some of the Johannesburg water systems. So City Power completed repairs on Tuesday the 5th of March, and Rand Water began pumping around midnight. Now it is important to note that while pumping has resumed, the system will take a few days until it fully recovers. And I guess that is critical for you to know that as much as we've done the repairs, for it to get to that full level or that level of recovery, it will take some time as well. And the technical team will also indicate that now as and when they do a presentation as well. So the following areas were affected. The Commando system, which is the Crosby Reservoir, Brixton Reservoir and Tower, and the Hursthill 1 and 2 reservoirs. Johannesburg South and Central, Soweto, Power Park, Waterfall, Randburg, Roodepoort, Witpoortjie, Linden and Constantia. But it is critical to note that the treatment and distribution of water to consumers is highly dependent on the constant supply of electricity to feed our water pumps, our motors and the mechanical equipment. In this instance, the interruption of electricity from City Power has rendered the pumps at Rand Water Eikenhof pump station unable to run and distribute water to Joburg Water reservoirs and pump stations, and this has resulted in reservoirs running empty. And I guess one of the things that we must emphasize is that level of dependency between the work that we do in City Power as well as that dependency in terms of Joburg Water, specifically for our pumps and our motors, as I've indicated now. And on that we will have a presentation by the technical team that will be able to clearly explain that level of dependencies and how it is interrelated from that end. But as much as we have all of these issues and these disruptions, we also deployed about 27 or so water tankers to some of those affected areas, including clinics in those areas that were affected. So the team worked around the clock to ensure that even from that angle, that we still ensure that people will have water in the affected areas. But on the backdrop of all these recent water challenges, and I think this is critical as we are moving forward, the entity Joburg Water will give a media tour on the 12th of March, specifically on the Sandton system. And the team will indicate to you, as much as we had this incident, what some of the planned outages we had specifically and the planned maintenance for Sandton. And the purpose of that particular tour is really for us to ensure that you get a direct insight as the media on how the Sandton system functions, from getting bulk supply from Rand Water, how it moves within the system until it finally reaches the residence tab. So that is part of our ongoing awareness of our Joburg Water operations, so that it's critical that you understand that as and when we do have an outage in the one area, how it impacts on the other, and our linkage between Rand Water and Joburg Water until you open up your tap. This is essentially to foster greater transparency. It is very important for us as the city to build that transparency, and also for us to keep our communities informed on the system challenges that we have, as well as the mitigation factors that we will be undertaking to ensure that we prevent this from happening. In conclusion, from my side, there is really a need for us and for communities really to utilize water wisely, and also to avoid unnecessary waste. And this I'm saying, as and when the team will present, they will indicate to you the water supply, the demand from the side of Joburg, as well as the supply from Rand Water, really the demand and the supply. So that is really a request that we need to use water wisely as we are moving forward. And then there's an increased consumption currently, which is also exacerbated by the heat waves that we are experiencing of late, and this places severe pressure on our systems. At this point, I will hand over to the Joburg Water MD. He will then also provide some information with regard to this incident, And from there, we will then ensure that we give it over to the technical team to be able to give you that presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Siam, and good afternoon to the colleagues from the media as well as the viewers and listeners. The important thing for me is to indicate to you as to where we are now, since you have heard that we started pumping, or the bulk supply started pumping at full load around midnight yesterday. We basically are seeing the system gradually improving. I can assure you that if you look at the area that were mentioned, area that were affected, which will take you through in a presentation, zooming into various supply systems. But in the main, we are seeing good improvement around Soweto, and of course, we are also seeing improvement around the area of Brixton. Of course, there are areas that we still need to monitor them very closely, areas that we expect that as we go off peak during the night, we should be able to see that improvement. The areas like the Greater Rodiport, we have a number of towers there that up to this stage we're not yet able to pump because we still have to get the system fully pressurized for us to be able to start pumping. But that's the issue that we expected to happen during the night. And of course, if you see also area like towards the end of Randbeck, we've got 2 reservoirs, so that are really at the end of the system. Also, it's an area that we expected to recover during the night. When I say recover, it's a situation whereby by tomorrow we should start being able to give water to those areas, even though we have to really manage the system for the next 2-3 days very closely. So I'm going to also indicate to you, before I hand over to Logan, who will take you through the presentation, that some of you might have heard that also the area around Greater Sandton doesn't have water. I must indicate that Sandton is not part of Ekenhof system. You'll be able to see also from the presentation, because we are going to take you through from the bulk supplier as to say how the system works for City of Johannesburg. Sandton is not part of the Ekenhof. So what happened was that we had a planned shutdown for Sandton system to improve the infrastructure. And that planned shutdown, the actual work on the ground, was planned to start Tuesday morning. And when the work is expected to start Tuesday morning, we have to isolate the system Monday evening. So as this other incident happened, unfortunately, we had already closed the Sandton system. But the team have done the work, and we just had to, of course, reduce the scope of work that we're doing there so that we can bring back the Sandton system back quickly. And we've actually done that around 11 o'clock. So it is also in the process of recovery, and we expect that in the main, the reservoir for Sandton will be in the better position tomorrow. But of course, the Ilovo one, we still need to manage them closely even tomorrow. So I'm going to ask Logan, who will really take you through a presentation that will really help you to understand how the system works and where are we exactly around each and every system around City of Johannesburg that was affected. Thank you.
So just before Logan starts, I'm going to share the PowerPoint presentation because it's going to help me with our projector, but I'll share it before the
Okay, good afternoon, colleagues and listeners. I'm going to take you through a presentation in terms of the Joburg Water supply system and the current status of our key reservoirs in the network. The presentation will be shared with you, like my colleague mentioned. But before we go into that, I just want to give a bit of a brief background in terms of how Joburg Water systems fit relative to the Rand Water system. So Rand Water is the bulk services provider for water to the Greater Gauteng and further, in this case Johannesburg Water. So Rand Water extracts water from the integrated Vaal system via 2 purification works. One is called Vereniging and the other is called Suikerbos. These two purification systems extract raw water, treat them, and pump it through a series of pump stations and network into the Joburg water system. On the Vereeniging purification system side, it predominantly supplies the Eikenhof supply system. That's the current system that has given us a problem in the last few days due to the electricity challenges on the City Power substation side. It also supplies the Swartkoppie supply system. On the Suikerbos purification system, it supplies the Palmit system as well as the Mapleton supply system. The Mapleton essentially goes east towards Ekurhuleni. So that is basically how the RAN water treatment and pumping links to the Joburg water system. It's not a single pipe system. It's a combination of pipes, pumping systems, reservoirs. It's quite an integrated system before the water actually reaches the Joburg water reservoirs and pump stations. Now, one thing.
Of course, that briefing taking place in Newtown. It's just a Joburg water update. Various reasons given as to why some of the taps in Joburg have run dry. Specific timelines yet to be outlined, but that briefing, of course, continues.